Hello and welcome to today's video where I'm going to go through how I lost 16 kg in 20 weeks. I'm going to go through everything I done, the maximum cardio I done, the calories, the minimum calories I was on, and everything that was done through this process, pretty much this transformation. And hopefully you guys take some key points from this and use it on your own transformation so you could get very good results. So here is the transformation I done. 21st of July was when I started the first week of my fat loss phase, where I weighed in at 85 kg, and during that time I dropped 16.4 kg, where we landed at 68.56 kg at 8th of December 2025. As you can see, big visual difference between both photos, where he has high body fat, here has the leanest I ever been, which if I was very happy with my condition. I was very happy with this package. I'm going to be leaner than this during at the end of this year, so I'm pretty excited for that. So let's actually get into why this happened and how I actually lost that much fat and not muscle. So let's get into it. One thing I want you guys to understand is you need to stop thinking I want to lose weight, but think I want to lose fat. Because when your mentality shifts to what I want to lose fat, you are going to be better in the gym. You are going to actually eat and enjoy the process so much more rather than making yourself do hours upon hours of cardio, making yourself not eat enough calories to actually support your body. And you're going to just fall off with energy and motivation. So you're not going to have any energy because you're not eating enough, and you're not going to have any motivation because you're just overworking yourself. So this video will go through how to avoid them things, okay? So let's get into it. So the three things that you need to ensure you lose fat and not weight. So the first thing is nutrition. This one thing that's very simple but it's also very overlooked, which is how do I know if I'm in a calorie deficit? You go into a calorie calculator, you put in your stats, whatever it asks you to put in, you see your maintenance calories, and then you eat your maintenance calories for a week. See what happens to your body weight. If your body weight goes down or goes down, keep it until it starts to stall. And then if it doesn't go down and it keeps it be the same, drop it by like 200, 300. See what happens for another week, 2 weeks. If it keeps going down, keep it. If it goes again, it stalls again, drop it by 200, 300 again. And that's the process you should be going in, right? There's some weeks you're gonna drop weight, there's some days you're gonna gain weight, but that's part of the process. Every day is not the same. Every day is gonna be different. You might had worse sleep, you might had more water, you might had there's so many variables into it, so that's why weighing yourself daily and tracking everything is going to be so important for you to make as much progress as possible. Okay, so one thing I want you guys to think is macronutrients, so your carbs, your protein, your fat is like a car. So carbs are the fuel you put in the car. If you don't have carbs, how is the car going to run without any fuel? It's not. It's going to stay in the same position. The same thing with the protein. If you don't have the parts that the car needs to actually work properly, how are you going to maintain your muscle? You're not. So you have to have all the parts in place to maintain your muscle. That's why I like to have 2.2 to 2.4 times my body weight in kg of protein in my diet. Why? Because I like to be a bit higher because you're in a deficit. You need to recover a bit better. So I like go a bit higher on the protein. And then for the fats, it's like your oil. If your oil is in bad shape, your car is not going to run efficiently. It's the same thing with fats in a human. If you don't have fats in a good level, you're not going to have you're not going to be healthy. You're not going to have your hormones in the right place. You're just not going to be efficient with your health. So making sure them three are in place at the right values is so important. So making sure you have them in place will make your progress next level. Then into training. The training does not change. If I'm in a cut or in a bulk, my training does not change. I still run high intensity and low volume, but recovery is gonna be different because you're on less food. You are gonna be probably more tired because you're doing cardio as well on top of that. But that's why you need to listen to your body, adjust the volume of your training to according to your whatever you are experiencing, and then you could still train hard as fuck. You could still train to a high intensity, to a high level. You just need to know what your volume needs, and you should be fine. And why do I like to train in a high intensity doing a cut? What built my muscle is going to retain my muscle. And what is high intensity? High intensity is training close to failure. And why do I train close to failure during a cut? Because it creates the most mechanical tension, which is one of the key things for muscle growth. So, and that's what you need to do. What built the muscle is going to keep the muscle. So just do the same thing you were doing in the bulk, doing the cut, but it's going to be harder. That's why you have to have 110% more effort when you're in a cut, because you're going to feel sluggish. You're going to feel tired probably. If you in a regular cut, when it should be harder, it should be at the end. So that's when you're going to feel sluggish. That's when you need to hold and try and hold your performance as much as possible. The goal is always to maintain strength and muscle. Okay, so do not slack on your training. And one thing you need to think about as well is diet to lose fat, but train like you're trying to build muscle. The thing I've been talking about is train like you in a bulk. Train the same like you are building muscle. What build the muscle is going to keep the muscle. Keep that in mind. All right, into expenditure now. What is expenditure? Is your daily activity. So your steps, your cardio, and general movement. So these are tools and not a punishment. So do not use these as a punishment for binging, for missing workouts. Okay? If you do them, the next day go back straight back on plan. You should be fine if you don't get out of the plan after a week, right? So try and keep on plan. But if you have that one day that you just feel like you binged, or you feel like, oh, you missed a workout, do not use them as a punishment. Just get back on plan the next day and keep that for like months upon months, and then you will be fine. One thing that I done on expenditure, my maximum expenditure through my transformation was 30 minutes of cardio twice a week and 10k steps daily. That's the only thing I needed to drop 16 kg in 20 weeks. The only thing. It didn't go higher, it didn't go lower. From day 1 to day 140, which is 20 weeks, I did the same cardio and steps. And why? Because I kept my training at the right place. I actually ticked my steps every single day. I actually did my cardio with the intensity provided that was 120 beats per minute to 140 beats per minute. So I had that locked in. And I actually ate my calories that I needed to eat. And I didn't binge once. And I didn't actually cheat on my diet any time. And I didn't undereat or overeat. So that's literally why I made so much progress. And I forgot to mention the calories in the last bit. My calories only went down to 2.1 when I trained and 1.8 when I didn't train. So making sure you have daily steps in is going to be so important for you, because you're going to be able to keep your calories high. You're going to be able to actually move around in your rest days and actually be active. And it's so much. I love going for a walk. It makes my brain think. It makes me have ideas on stuff to do. It's just so like and you connect with nature as well. So making sure you have them 10k steps in are so important. So make sure you have them in, and it will help you with your fitness journey and your fat loss phase. So one thing I want to mention, that these are probably stuff that you are doing, that's why you're not making as much progress as you should be, which is calories are way too low, so making sure that's locked in, which I said about the maintenance. So calculate that. If you need help, message me, I will help you out. Too much cardio, so if you have too much cardio in, you're probably just fatiguing yourself and you're not getting anywhere because your body's not actually responding to anything that you are doing. So making sure your cardio is in the right place as well is so important. No training intensity. You slacking on your training. You're just leaving 4 reps in reserve every single set when you should be going closer to failure. You should be going to 0 to 1 rep in reserve most of your sets. And you simply have no structure. If you have no structure, you are gonna get nowhere. And I found that the hard way, because I trained for 2 years and I had no structure. I used to copy YouTube workouts. I used to copy Instagram workouts. Every workout used to be different, and I never used to progressive overload. I never used to actually make progress. So because I had no structure, I had no plan, I had no meal plan, I had no roadmap, which is so key if you're in the dieting phase, knowing exactly when it's gonna start and when it's gonna end. I knew I was gonna end around 18 to 20 weeks my dieting phase, which means I'm motivated to actually get to that point. And if you don't have no roadmap, you just tick in the box every week, and you feel like this is a never-ending cycle. But when you have an ending, you are most likely gonna go to it because it makes you excited to actually reach the end of something. So making sure you have that structure in so important. Then what actually made all of this sustainable for me, which is something I would really want to talk about, is what actually made this sustainable. And there's only one answer for this, and is tracking progress. That's the only reason I sustained this, because I tracked my progress from day one to day 140. That's literally why I made this sustainable long term. Because I knew exactly what I did day one. I knew exactly what I did week by week. I knew exactly what I did day by day. So it made my progress so much easier, made my decision making so much easier, and it made me do the right decisions because I had everything written down. I had everything just ready there for me to make decisions. So every decision was based on past data. That's why data collection in a physique development is so important. The more data you have, the more results you are going to get. So this is why when my clients join my coaching, you get a data collection sheet because you should be tracking every single metric so progress becomes quicker every single time. Okay. And one thing I have to say is fat loss is simple, but it requires structure. If you don't have no structure, you're going to find hard to actually lose fat, and you're just going to lose muscle, discipline, motivation, and overall, you're not going to have fun during the process, which is so important. You need to be able to enjoy the process to actually get a goal. So if you don't enjoy that process, you're never going to reach that goal. That's why you need to put in your head. You need to enjoy it. If you don't enjoy it, you're not going to finish it. And that's what made the change for me. When I started enjoying it, when I started having structure, that's when I literally switch the switch, like putting a light on. That's when it switched. That's when I actually started to enjoy the gym. That's when I actually started to enjoy eating good. That's when I started to actually see progress. And that's the number one thing for me was structure. And then after that comes the calories, comes the cardio, comes the training. But if you don't have structure first, you're not going to get to them places. So making sure you have that structure, so important. And yeah, if you have any questions, make sure you DM me on Instagram or drop a comment down below and I'll answer them. Thank you for watching and I'll see you on the next one.